Good evening and salutations, my GH fans. I want to talk about Maxi and Austin for a minute because I'm going to be completely honest. I don't understand where Austin was coming from. At first, Maxi's like, I don't know about tomorrow because I got this, I got that, I got the kids and everything like that. And, Austin comes out of his mouth and he's like, well, you don't need to sit there and make excuses, if you don't want to sit there and spend time with me. And, Maxi's like, listen, it's not really that. I just don't really want to ask my parents to sit there and babysit 2 times in a row. And, at this point, this is when Austin's like, well, um, the hell did he say? Because he kept sitting there. It's like he didn't understand that it's not that she didn't want to see him. It's that she has kids. Okay? They are her main priority. They are what comes first. She has work and everything like that. And oh, that's what he was saying. He was like, "Oh, well, it just seems like you're trying to find excuses to sit there and push me away." And I'm like, "What, bro? She has kids." I literally sat there the whole time just watching this, like watching Maxie sit there and try to explain, the fact that she had kids, and then it comes into this whole, oh well, it's not just that, and the red flags, this, that, and the third, and it's like, oh, I think we kind of covered the first 2 minutes when you said that you had different things to do with your children. I don't understand why we had to sit there and watch this entire scene play out. I, I, I'm at a loss at this point. And it seemed, honestly, to tell you, the truth, I'm not gonna lie, it almost seemed as though Austin was trying to find excuses to not really want to be with her anymore. When you really stop and think about, oh well, you got this going on, you got that, maybe with Peter and this, that, and the third, and so I understand if you want to go back to being friends, and it's like, girl, is that what you want? Do you want to go back to being friends? Because I don't understand why you're sitting there putting all this on her when she has a full-time job and 3 children. I I I'm lost. But at some point, Georgie wakes up, and this is when they're making out and everything like that. She wakes up and she is just not liking this whole scene. This whole scene is just not. It ain't for her. So she starts being rude and is like, "Oh, I want this, I want that," and who are you and what are you doing here? And at this point, Austin's like, "Yeah, I think it's time for me to go." So he leaves, and it just pretty much kind of ends like that. But I just sat there like, bro, I don't, I don't understand what you thought you were getting yourself into when you decide to sit there and date someone with 3 kids, and you're not even being a little bit understanding. And on top of that, he was, I think, he stood her up at one point. But you want to sit there and act like she's supposed to what? Just drop everything and like just be with you, and the kids could just kind of, oh, it'll just work itself out. Like what? Um, what else we got next? So Lucy comes to see Martin. Lucy. I gotta sit there and say that. All right, so this woman can vex me at times. But she is no so she looks good. I mean, she definitely works out. You can tell she's somebody that definitely hits the gym and definitely takes care of her skin. This girl looks good. All right, that's all I'm gonna say. She still got it going on. Anyway, she's not there talking to Martin, and she's like, I want to sit there and come public, and you don't have to worry about money with Valentine because I got money and stuff like that. But Martin's like, yo, listen, I want to pay my own way. And, he pretty much says, listen, if Valentine is not going to be on board with us, then, he can kick rocks. Now, Valentine, I don't know who he's talking to, but he pretty much is like he talks to somebody about some deal still being on, and at this point they wind up bumping into each other. Valentine, Martin, and Lucy. And Martin and Lucy pretty much like, yep, we're together, and it's a thing. And Valentine's like, well, what if I have a problem with that? And Martin, in no uncertain terms, he was like, all right, well then, it was nice knowing you, but she's staying, so I don't know what you want me to do. And at this point, Valentine's like, oh, okay, all right, cool. Well, I'm happy for you, and smooth sailing, and Lucy is still backing me on ELQ, so there's no problems, and we're all good. So, all right, enjoy your night, bye. And so I sat there and I was like, well, if that was the case, why was you so upset about that earlier? Now I get it to some extent. Maybe Valentine was still thinking about the conversation of what he had to sit there and do as far as the other person on the phone is. So he was like, all right, whatever, you do what you want. I can just sit there and take it as that. But I can also sit there and take it as, man, I'm so glad that they were sitting there doing all that hiding and sneaking around and everything like that. And then when they confront him, he's just like, oh, okay, all right, no, that's fine. Yep. Just I don't know what to say about that. Just like okay. It's total 180, but sure. So Ben and Liz make out. They talk on the phone. They make out. They talk on the phone. Ben leaves. Liz goes into the shower, and I guess she forgot to lock the security latch or whatever. And so apparently, whoever got in and pretty much kind of trashed up the room. And then when Liz called Finn came in there and he saw feathers and everything like that. So Officer Rory, everyone else got in there. I I still want to know more about this Officer Rory, and I hope he's just more than just like some standby character. Um. Anyway, they come in there. They're looking, combing through evidence and stuff like that. Finn and Liz go downstairs, and then Liz forgot her phone, so Ben went up there, and long story short, Liz was like, I want you to get in contact with that medium for me. So I guess we're gonna go. I don't know which way we're gonna go, but here's the thing. I don't personally think they're gonna do the supernatural angle. I really don't. I really don't think they're gonna do the whole, Frank goes back from the dead and whatever. I don't think they're gonna go that route. I think that this show, even with the angels and um, like Mike and Courtney and, others, they're not going to go that route. I just don't see it happening. I think they're going to fake people out with that. And, well, I guess we'll just sit there and still wait because that's what we're doing now. Nina and Sunny. I'm going to be honest. Here's the thing. I don't think that the Nina and Sunny scenes were terrible, but I just felt like it was the weakest part of this episode. And that's saying something, even for me. And at this point, I think everyone knows how much I'm a huge Sunny fan, but they didn't really do much of anything. They talked about Harmony, and then, Sunny was meant to talk about how you can't forgive Michael for his disrespect and yada, yada, yada. Um, then they just danced night away. So that's pretty much what they do. They have an audience. It turns into Dancing with the Stars. And then, Nina go home and Sunny just kind of stands there and waves and say goodbye. And that's pretty much about it. Like I said, didn't really go anywhere. Almost felt like they weren't even needed in this episode, but, we still got him there. I didn't really sit there and talk about this before, or I don't remember really talking about this, but as far as, rumors, or I wouldn't even sit there and say rumors, but until he actually confirms this up, I don't know if he confirmed this up, but about Maurice Bernard retiring as Sonny. And I'm gonna be completely honest. If he decided to retire, let's say next week, I would still watch the show. I feel like this show has enough strong characters where it doesn't need to rely on Sunny for ratings. And don't get me wrong. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like Sunny, but they usually do give him some really interesting and intense storylines. I mean, hell, I sat there and I complained about the Nixon Fall stuff, but there was some really good moments in there. There was some really good stuff that happened. I felt like it took a little bit too long personally because I wanted him to go back to being Sunny. But with that being said, even for a storyline that a lot of people didn't like, that me and DC Sanctuary did a collab video on, as far as being the worst storylines, it had some pretty good moments. But with that being said, I feel like this show can survive without Sunny. And let's just be honest, this show was going on hard and strong before Sunny got there, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be strong after Sunny leaves. Um, because at the end of the day, all they're just gonna wind up doing, they're gonna have to find a way to step up these characters, give them some really interesting storylines. Don't drag them out like they've been doing with the Marshall storyline and the Liz storyline, and you know, it'll be fun. So Harmony wakes up. So yeah, Harmony wakes up, and Willow, is trying to talk to her to try to keep her calm and everything like that. But Harmony's like, I gotta tell you something. I gotta tell you something. But of course, if she gets too agitated or whatever, she can go into cardiac arrest, whatever, and that's exactly what wound up happening. So TJ comes in there, gives her a sedative, and just like, yo, listen, we're just gonna let her sleep it off because she's still, in ICU at this point, and it's kind of touch and go. Um, Now Willow comes out there and it's like, yo, Carly, I want to know what's going on. You came in here to tell me something. I don't want to know what's going on. So they tell her to go for a walk. She goes for a walk and she gets back. She sees Michael and she wants to know what's going on. She asks Michael, like, yo, what's going on? And it's a good thing that Carly didn't sit there and tell Michael, because he would have had to sit there and have that burden of denying and lying to her um, for a time being. And she would have been, or she would have been pissed off about that. Now, at some point, Carly is, looking at her, and Harmony wakes up and kind of, tells her to come into the room. So, Carly comes to the room and she's like, hey, listen, I didn't sit there and tell her about everything. Not because I didn't want to, but, not, for either you or anything like that, but I want to spare her. And she says something, I don't exactly remember what she says, but I know in the preview, she's like, don't tell her. Um, don't tell her that she's not my bio daughter, my biological daughter. And so at this point, I'm just sitting there thinking, how long are we going to sit there and drag this out? Because I'm going to be completely honest, I thought that she was going to die. Okay, I really thought that she was going to sit there and die. And I'm going to be completely honest. I know it would have devastated Willow if that happened, but part of me would have been like, I mean, just as a character, as like if they killed off Harmony, I really wouldn't have felt bad at all. I really wouldn't have. She killed a bunch of people. Now, yeah, okay, Brendan was being a dick, but and granted, that was an accident, or it looked like it was an accident. It looked like it was an accident. Okay, but Neil was definitely on purpose. Alexis Carly was definitely on purpose. And I'm looking at this whole thing, and I'm like, here's the thing. The reason why I thought she was going to die is because, well, either she's going to die or she's going to go to jail. Like, I mean, there's really no. I mean, the other third option is her to escape, which I feel if they keep her, on the show, that's what's going to wind up happening. She's just going to wind up escaping, and then, she'll come back and forth and, whatever. Um, 'Cause I don't really see a way out. Now, there was a conversation between, Michael and TJ about Harmony, as far as like, even Michael was like, yo, listen. not to sound like a dick, but if she dies, that's better off for Willow. TJ was like, well, I can't really sit there and be calling it like that. Even though that Harmony tried to kill um his mother-in-law. He was like, well, I took a doctor, Hippocratic oath, and this, that, and the third. I'm like, yeah, I mean that's cool, and that's very like that's very straightforward, straight whatever. Or I'm gonna be honest, I feel like that's I don't want to sit there and say that's boring, but I feel like it's a bit unrealistic. I mean, he does sit there and say, yeah, he has feelings and emotions and stuff like that, but I'm like, yo, this chick literally tried to kill your wife's or life partner, whatever the hell you want to sit there and call her, try to kill her mother, and you're just like, well, I can't really sit there and judge her because at the end of the day, she's still a human. I'm like, really, bro? Really? But you had no problem sitting there trying to attack Brando when your girl decided to have sex with him. You had no problem going after Brando like this was Brando's fault. I don't really understand. Okay, whatever. I feel like that's about it for the most part. I don't think I really left anything out. I gotta sit there and say that this episode was better than yesterday's episode. I felt like yesterday's episode was just all over the place. Just all over the place. Like I said, I could have did without the whole Sunny and Nina thing, like them just hanging out and talking and dancing and having their little audience members. It was like, all right, that's cool, but I don't really care. Now tomorrow, they got Felicia. I have a feeling because somebody was something saying like, Felicia's gonna sit there and start like maybe thinking about adopting, and I'm like, really, really, you really want to sit there and just, you know what? I'm gonna just wait until I watch the episode before I really go in on her. Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I want to thank you for watching. Be safe, and I will see you in the next video.